Hello, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing amazing. Now, I am so excited for this video because I'm going to be sharing my top 10 best reads of 2025, and just to say that my number one slot is actually my all-time favourite book, and I'm not sure anything's going to knock it off, not for a very long time. I'm also going to be sharing my 6 worst books of the year. I was only going to do 5 worst reads, but then I checked my Goodreads and realised I rated 6 2 stars, which for me is like bottom of the bar. I don't really give 1 stars out, but if it's 2 stars, that is basically my 1 star. And the reason why I don't normally give 1 stars is because I feel like someone's took time and effort to write this book, and maybe that deserves something. So my lowest rating is always going to be a 2 star, never a 1 star. It's a little bit backwards, I know, but it just gives me a nice conscience. And before we start, I just want to apologise because I am recovering from an illness, so I feel like I do sound a little bit bunged up. So I'm so sorry, but we're going to try and get through this. I have my tea, I have my blanket, so let's crack on. I'm actually really looking forward to sharing my list because obviously I started my booktube journey, I believe, in July. So we've got a whole first half of the year of books that you don't even know that I read, which may make an appearance on this list. So at number 10 we have I Hope This Finds You Well by Natalie Sue, and this book is based around the corporate office, which is why I feel like I gravitated towards it so much, because I'm a corporate girly. I have been all my life since 17, and when I say Natalie Sue hit the corporate lifestyle so well, like some of the things that happen in this book seem so far-fetched, but I've seen it happen with my own eyes. So I know it's true. Like if I was reading this and never worked in a corporate office, I would be like, that just wouldn't happen, would it? That wouldn't happen. No, believe me, it happens. The corporate office is so wild sometimes. So basically, we've got Jolene, and she is a little bit lost in her life, I would say, and definitely in her corporate life. So Jolene is actually been caught doing something naughty, and when responding to emails, she's been writing bad things in white ink. Now, this I thought was a bit far-fetched, but my friend, who's also a corporate girly, knows someone that has done this. It's wild. So she's been caught, and now she has to be punished. And her punishment is that she has to go on sensitivity training with the new HR guy, Cliff, who she finds just a little bit too happy, too over-friendly, and, you know, just not her vibe. During this sensitivity training, something happens where she can actually now see the whole of her company's inboxes. She can see what's outgoing, what's incoming, what they're saying on an instant messaging system, the whole works. But she actually uses this to her advantage because in her company, they're actually making redundancies, and it seems like Jolene is going to be getting the chop. But with having access to everyone's emails, she knows what people are doing which maybe they shouldn't, what corners they're cutting, etc. But along this, there's more internal troubles going on, and as much as I love the corporate drama that's going on and how it's so relatable, there was something far more deeper within this book which I really appreciated, and to see the journey of Jolene from start to finish, I absolutely loved. This one really took me by surprise, and in the end I believe I rated it a 4.5. This is also a debut novel for Natalie Sue, which blows my mind because it was so good, and I've actually just checked and her second novel is coming out in August 2026. I feel like I may even pre-order it, and I'm so excited to see that a second novel is coming out by her. Number 9, we have The Shining by Stephen King. Now, I have to say, I really do enjoy Stephen King's books. Every single book that I've read of his, I've rated at least a 4 or above. I want to say even a 4.5 or above. Stephen King does horror like no other, but The Shining is a psychological horror, and it was incredible. So we've got Jack Torrance, and he's a little bit down on his luck. He has just been fired from his current job, but he manages to secure a caretaking position at the Overlook Hotel. The only problem being is that he's caretaking it when the hotel is actually shut down for the winter. The winter is the harshest of times. He's just there to make sure that nothing happens to the hotel while it's closed, you know, pipes are still working, etc. But the main goal of this is he wants to get back on track on his writing. So he feels like this is the perfect opportunity where he's caretaking this hotel where it's closed, so he doesn't actually have to do much. So he'll get some time in for the writing. But don't be fooled. This hotel, it's a haunted house. This is a haunted house story, but this is so much more. This is ultimately how your inner demons can affect you and those around you, but told in a haunted house setting. Now, don't get me wrong, this was spooky. I've actually not watched the movie, but I'm told it's not very similar to the book, so that is on my watch list for this year. I actually listened to this and done immersive reading, and it was creepy. The voice actors on Audible, hats off, because it was so... I actually had chills on my arm on one scene. There was one bit on this book which I was just a little bit scared out, like... And that is me as a grown 30-year-old woman saying it was so... I didn't like it. It made me feel a little bit creepy. But this book also plays on your emotions to the point where I actually felt sorry for every single one of the family members, even Jack, who you know may be doing some terrible things. It's the way Stephen King writes is incredible, and I just highly implore you to read this. Again, I rated this 4.5 stars, and I have to say, I think this is one of the best psychological thrillers I have ever read. And I just don't know if anything's going to beat it. At number 8, we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This book was so beautifully written, and I rated this one 4.5 stars. And I must read more of V.E. Schwab's work in 2026. That's all I have to say. I rated this one 4.5 stars, and this one is about Addie LaRue. Now, it's set in 2 different timelines, which I knew was going to be an instant plus for me. I love dual timelines, dual point of views, anything like that. The first timeline is actually set in, I believe, 1714, in the 1700s, and a time where women weren't particularly seen as independent. They were kind of told how to live. They were kind of told who to marry as well. And Addie, she weren't having it. She did not want that lifestyle. She was very much independent, strong woman. But Addie LaRue, she doesn't want this. She's actually being told who she has to marry, this certain man that she just does not like. So she prays to a god to not let this happen. But unfortunately, the gods that she wanted to hear her are not listening. And the one god that she does not want to hear her does, and basically makes a bargain with Addie that she does not have to have this lifestyle. She doesn't need to marry this man. But everyone that she meets is now going to forget her. So every day, anyone that she meets goes out of their minds. She's never going to be remembered. But lo and behold, she takes the deal. And we are going through Addie's journey of who she's meeting, her life journeys, how she evolves with the time. And honestly, it's so beautifully written. I just, even thinking about it gives me chills. A lot of people say the book's a bit long for what it should be, but I wholly disagree. I think I could read another 200 pages of this book, and actually just so poignant, like you may even shed a little tear. This book is for anyone that loves flowery, descriptive writing, your literary fictions. Like, this book packs a punch, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. It's so good. At number 7, we have a really recent read that I read in December, and it's The Favourite by Lane Fargo, and I rated this one 4.5 stars. So we've got Katerina, and she is an ice dancer, and she is always known that she wants to compete and win at the Olympics. But when she was a child, she meets Heath Rocher, and they instantly have a connection on and off the ice. Heath was actually in the foster care system, and he's had a very turbulent upbringing. But Katerina acts as his solid rock, so they decide to partner up and be ice dancers together. And we are then going through their rocky journey of their relationship, basically. They have a very toxic relationship, but at the same time, they are destined to be together. And is the sport making their relationship toxic, or would it always have had a bumpy road ahead? This book has so much drama in it. The drama starts from page 1 all the way right to the end. Like, honestly, it's non-stop packed with drama, which I absolutely ate up. And there's twists and turns, some which I did see coming, but it does not take away from the enjoyment. The brutality of the sports, both on and off the ice. And what really makes this book stand out is actually at the end of some of the chapters, it's written in a style of like a documentary, but it actually gives you so much more context to what has just happened, a different point of view from, you know, another person who was in that situation. Like, it really brought so much more depth to the book. Also, the characters, every single one of these characters were flushed out excellently. Every single character had depth. They had a backstory. They had emotion. Like, it's just so good. I implore you, please read this and you will not be disappointed, and you will fly through this just with this sheer amount of drama that's inside. So at number 6, I've kind of cheated just a little bit. I wouldn't say cheated, but I've put 2 together, and that is the first 2 books I've read in the ACOTAR series. So A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mr. Fury. Is it? I want to say. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. But I won't go on about these too much because obviously I've done my reading vlogs and I think everyone knows about these books. I'm so glad to have started my ACOTAR journey. So ACOTAR, I was completely surprised with. I don't know what I was expecting, but it definitely wasn't that book, which I know sounds so silly, but I flew through it. I was engaged. I loved the world building at the beginning. I did not find it slow at all. And then obviously the middle part, it was kind of setting the plot for the end and the characters in there. And then the ending was just great. And then obviously A Court of Mr. Fury. Do we really have to say much about that book? Just rice land, really. That chapter 54, I don't think chapter 54 will ever leave me, and I know for a fact I will be reading that chapter, just that chapter in that book, many times. Like, I was absolutely gobsmacked by that chapter, but just the book overall, I mean, it's more than just one chapter. It's so good. I will say I found the beginning of Akamath just a little bit slower than what I was anticipating, because everyone says that it's like their favourite book in the series, yada yada yada. And yeah, I just feel like I was expecting a bit more. But actually, the ending brought it right back up. And do you know what? I can actually appreciate the slower start for what the book was as a whole, so I'm not complaining in the slightest. I think they're both worth reading. I'm so excited to carry on the series, and both of these books I actually rated 4.5. I have a sneaky suspicion that the next book, A Court of Wings and Ruin, is it? I think that might be my favourite, because I hear it's just go. That's what I'm here for. So I'm super excited to read that one. So number 5 of my list is The Women by Kristin Hannah. And this is now the last 4.5 rating on this list. Kristin Hannah is actually my all-time favourite author, so it's no surprise that she is on this list. What I love about Kristin Hannah is she tells stories about women and makes them so impactful, so powerful. And honestly, I just can't explain to you how I feel when I read a Kristin Hannah book. So Franny is 20 years old and her brother has been shipped off to fight in the Vietnam War. But one day Franny goes to this kind of family gathering and someone tells her that women can be heroes too. And she really takes this to heart. This is a really impactful statement for her. So she decides to join the Army Nurse Corps and joins her brother in the Vietnam War. I can't even explain how incredible this book is. This book shines a light on all the women that helped in the Vietnam War. I mean, in any war as well. This just shines a light on the women. But back in those days, they weren't really appreciated for the work that they've done. How many lives they saved in the Vietnam War. And also it shines a light on their stability and mental stability when they come home from the war and how that was dismissed. And because they weren't actually fighting, that they didn't actually need help. There's more people who are out there fighting on the front line that needed their help more. But the women that were helping these fighters every single day, saving their lives, and saw the atrocities with their eyes firsthand. They saw all the injuries that were going on. They saw all the civilians that were being hurt. It also shows how brave women are, how they come together, how they work together. I feel like I'm getting emotional about it just because it was so powerful. Like, even think about it now, I'm like, should I have rated this a 5-star? I feel like maybe yes, I should have rated this a 5-star. And what got me the most, I actually cried at this book, not at the contents within, which, by the way, there is some very heavy topics in here. There is some very graphic wording in this book, so please be mindful when going through this. But I didn't actually cry at any of that, which I'm sorry, called me cold. But I cried at the acknowledgements. The very, very last paragraph on the acknowledgements page, I bawled my eyes out. Like, honestly, my husband had to check on me and was like, are you okay? Like, what are you reading? I was like, no, I'm fine. It was so, I can't. This book truly highlights the strength of women, and I feel like it's one everyone should read. Like, I genuinely believe that whether you're into literary fiction, historical fiction, it doesn't matter. It's a book that should be read by everyone. And maybe I'm even thinking I should have bumped this up to number 4. I feel like maybe number 4 and 5 are interchangeable in this list. But talking of number 4, we have got Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, and that was actually the first book I ever read this year. The very first book, and it was a 5-star. So I started off the year very, very well. So we've got 2 writers in this story. We have got Athena, and she is top of her game, bestseller, everyone loves her. And then we have got Juniper, who is actually not very well known. She's not at the peak of her career. This isn't actually a spoiler because I believe it is on the blurb and it happens very early on, but do skip if you don't want to hear. But one day, June witnesses Athena's death in a freak accident. But what Juniper sees is actually there's a finished piece of work that Athena has written. But Juniper decides to actually steal that, make a few edits, and then decide to class that work as her own. She then puts her new name on this piece of work so it doesn't relate to her old work and her old name. This book delves very much into race and race in the publishing world, and actually just how the publishing world works as a whole I found was so fascinating. How social media plays such a big part now as well, I found that just so eye-opening. This book was a little bit of a roller coaster as well. Like, I hated the main character, which is why I love this book. Like, I love a book where you hate the main character. If you know you don't like that trope, then I don't think this book's going to be for you, but you will be internally screaming at the main character, June. Like, you will hate her with such a passion, and you can slowly see her spiraling at how what she thinks is okay. She justifies every single decision, and you can see that this is wrong. You can clearly see that this is wrong, but she's justifying it. But there is just so much more inside this book. I don't really want to say too much just because I kind of went into this quite blind and it was fantastic, and maybe even the reason why I rated this 5 stars. But if you love to know more about kind of the publishing industry, how it works, how there's more things going on in the background that you may think and what may play a part and whatnot, there is so much more than what I'm saying to this story than what I'm saying right now. But it was such an incredible read. Couldn't stop. Like, I was literally just turning the pages. I was living again for the drama. I was actually living for the barbaric way June was living her life. Like, it was just so wrong. But it was such a compelling read, and actually I've not read anything by R.F. Kuang since. I do have Babel on my list, and I also have her newest release on my shelf too, so I definitely need to read more of R.F. Kuang because first book by her and it was a 5-star read. Okay, we are now in top 3 territory, and at number 3 we have Animal Farm by George Orwell, and I rated this 5 stars. I cannot believe I've not read this sooner. I think we all get a little bit daunted by the word classics, but please don't be daunted by this. It's like 125 pages long. It is tiny. And when I say you will not want to stop reading, please just believe me. I actually read this within like 15 hours, which is so rare for me that I don't do that. I don't read a book that quickly, but this one I really did. I think majority know what Animal Farm is about, but we have got a animal farm and basically they do not like the way they're being treated. So they decide to kick their owner off the farm and they will deal with all the work, all the kind of rationing, etc. They will deal with the farm all themselves. And ultimately, everyone is equal. But things do not go to plan. And there's always someone that may want a bit more power. There's always someone that may not want to do the work. And we just see the farm unraveling. So I didn't actually realise this was about the Russian Revolution, but now it does actually make sense. I don't know too much on that topic because I was never taught that in school, but I did do my own little research and the similarities are quite in your face. This book explores so many different political issues from class, equality, communism versus capitalism. There is just so much packed in this 125 pages. But at the end of the day, it's still a story and I just could not stop reading. It doesn't feel like you're reading about a very prominent issue that was happening at the time and actually could still be attached to today's world and future world too. I think this book is perfect if you want to start reading more classics and dip your toe in. It's very short, very easy to read as well. Like it does generally read like a story and then you have to then interpret the message between the lines, which is so easy to do. But again, it is still a story. So you may shed a tear at some point. I did. I shed a tear. I'm not afraid to admit it. I did shed a little tear at this. It's just so good. This book will stay with me. I mean, I still think about it daily. And that is no exaggeration. I do think about this book quite a bit, how it's so prevalent to today's times. And like this book was written in the 1940s. It's crazy. When I think of that, this book was written in the 1940s and it's still relevant to today's times. It baffles me. It's just amazing. But yes, just such a great book. Highly recommend and in my top 3 of 2025. At number 2, we have Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And again, this is a 5-star read. So for this one, we're following Carrie Soto and she is one of the best tennis players in her time. She has set multiple records, won multiple trophies, and she's very content with that. So she has retired for a few years and she's just enjoying life until one day, someone takes her record off her and she is not okay with that. So she decides to come out of retirement to be record holder once again. And we are just following her journey of coming out of retirement, training, going to games, and ultimately, does she become a record holder once again? Now, this one, I was a little bit apprehensive because I absolutely love Taylor Jenkins Reid. Again, she's up there as one of my favourite authors, but I don't really watch too much tennis. I don't know too much about tennis. I just kind of watch it when Wimbledon's on, you know? That's it. But you do not need to know a single thing about tennis to enjoy this book, clearly, because I was so fascinated. Now, I thought, again, this may get a little bit repetitive because you're just talking about tennis matches and tennis slang. But no. Every match was described in a different way, in a unique way that was so engaging. I can't tell you how Taylor Jenkins Reid's done it. It was so engrossing, like I couldn't put it down. Now, Carrie Soto herself, she's very fierce, very strong character, which again, I love. I think you could see a theme, even in my top 10. I love kind of a strong female character, and Carrie Soto definitely was that. And actually, there is so much character development from the start to a finish, but you may not like Carrie. So again, if you're someone that don't maybe like an unlikable main character, this one might not be for you, but it definitely was up my street. I just love Carrie Soto as a character. I think she's definitely up there as one of my favourite. She just no nonsense, she's fierce, and she does what needs to be done to get what she wants, and I appreciate that. But this was just a phenomenal read from start to finish, captivating, and again, I would highly recommend to you. Okay, so my top read of 2025 is The Great Alone by Kristin Hannah. Are we really surprised it's a Kristin Hannah book? I'm certainly not, but this woman can do no wrong, and this book is so amazing. It's phenomenal. It stuck with me. I read this one in April, so I don't think you've seen it on my channel, but it has stuck with me and it's just an all-time favourite of mine. Whatever I say is not enough to describe how good this book was. This book is basically a coming of age story of little Lenny, and her parents, they have a very toxic relationship, but her father basically is quite paranoid, likes to change their kind of home resident quite a bit, and his latest stint is that he wants to go to Alaska, and we are really just following her story in Alaska. But her father is a war prisoner, so obviously he's got his own demons, which then reflect onto both her mother and her, and she has a very turbulent upbringing, especially in Alaska. Everything kind of meshes together to create this harrowing and emotional but sometimes uplifting story. The way Kristin Hannah describes Alaska makes me want to move there straight away. And I know I would hate it because I hate the cold, but her description of Alaska was so stunning. You honestly could feel like you're right there with Lenny standing next to her. We have a small romance trickled in here too. This small romance is very tender, it's very emotional, honestly so good, and I've actually got quite a few people to read this book, and again they've rated it 5-star, and once you read it I think you'll understand why. But this book is about survival of both the elements of the weather and what's going on in Lenny's personal life. It's about love, it's about loss. There is just so much going on. Again, Kristin Hannah puts women at the front of her stories so well, and she also puts a spotlight on Lenny's mother, who finds her courage and strength along the way as well. But also I would say maybe check your trigger warnings, as there are a few that crop up within this book. I am fortunate enough to not have to check trigger warnings, but just as an FYI. But just overall, this book is just a stunning piece of work, and this is why Kristin Hannah is my favourite all-time author, because she absolutely can do no wrong. I feel like once you start reading this, it will be hard to put down with how immersed you are in the scene, how gripped you are with the story, and ultimately you just want to root for Lenny. You want to know that she's okay, and you just want to read on to find out, is she okay? And yeah, it's just an incredible book, and I implore you to please pick this up. And that's my top 10. I actually feel like I have a theme. I mean, I'm definitely a literary fiction girly. I do love a historical fiction as well. Like, that is definitely my vibe, I think. So yeah, I feel like I've had a great year. I've absolutely loved the books that I've read, and I'm ready to have amazing reads in 2026. I thought I'd also give some honourable mentions that didn't make the list, and we have None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I absolutely loved that book. That is one of my top kind of thriller books, I would say. I absolutely love that. I also done that as a buddy read, and that was really fun. We have The Crimson Moth by Kirsten Cicerelli. I absolutely loved that one. The yearning in that book, and Gideon as a male main character, he done one action in that book which made me swoon for him. I loved it. They're true enemies to lover as well. I think if you love your kind of romantasy with a true enemy to lover kind of trope, this is your one. It was so good. Did I guess the twist? Yes. Did it make it less enjoyable? Absolutely not. Next, I have The Girl Who Escaped Auschwitz by Ellie Midwood, and this was such a compelling read. I mean, I love reads about kind of World War II. I I know quite a lot about that war, and I learned quite a bit in school, etc., and I've done my own research. But this, I didn't realize this was based on a true story, and it was so harrowing, and I think I actually prefer it to The Tattoo of Auschwitz, which may say a lot, but I flew through this one. And yes, it's very gruesome with some of the depictions of what happened in the camps and whatnot, but I think it's a very important read as well. And even though they're such harrowing reads, I think it's important that we do keep reading this to stop this happening again. It's just crazy that these atrocities we let happen, you know, but it's a very good read. Next we have The Sister Switch by Charlotte Butterfield. I absolutely love this one. I rated this a 4.5. I was totally surprised, and the best way I can describe this one is Freaky Friday but without the magic and with sisters, and it was so good. I really enjoyed this one. Then I have Happy Place by Emily Henry. Again, Emily Henry is one of my top authors. I absolutely love her. I think she does contemporary romance in just the perfect way, and this one did not disappoint. And lastly, I have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I started this series really quite apprehensive because of the hype it gets around it, but I was thoroughly surprised. I really enjoyed this one and looking forward to carrying on the series. Just to pop in to say, if you are enjoying this video, please do like and subscribe. It would mean so much to me, and I would love to know what are your top 3 books of 2025, and if I've not read them, then I need to add them on my TBR ASAP. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now let's do my 6 worst books of 2025, but just to pop in and say, I most probably won't talk about them as much as I did as the top 10, just because I feel like I don't need to, and I'm not trying to sell them to you. I don't think these should be read, and therefore I'm not going to talk about them too much. And also, all of these books were rated 2 stars, and that's kind of my lowest that I give. So these are really bad in my opinion, and I think the first one is really I'm going to be making some waves, and I'm sorry, but at number 6, we have Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. But in my defense, I'm not a really big lover of spice. This is basically all it is spice in this book. So if you love spice, you're actually going to love this book, and you know, you're going to rate this 5 stars, but there is more spice than plot, and that's where I have an issue. But also on top of that, I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler. I think pretty much everyone knows, but I'll skip like 10 seconds if you don't want to hear this. But this book is about kinks, but their kinks are so tame, I wouldn't even call them kinks. Like, do you know what I mean? I was just expecting a little bit more. The actual plot, we were going around in circles and circles. I didn't have a single care in the world for this book, and I rated it 2 stars. Like, I just personally wouldn't recommend. I would recommend if you love spice, and that's it. But for me, I like more plot over spice, and I actually like a plot. I just don't know what the plot was doing in this book, and therefore I couldn't stand it, and it's at number 6. So it's the best of a bad bunch. At number 5, we have The Chain by Adrian McKinty. Now, oh my god, this book could have been something so special. The premise of this book was so exciting, like as if like a topic to read. So it was like, if your child gets kidnapped, then you have to then kidnap another child to set your child free. And I was thinking, oh my god, this is going to be so tense. Like, this is going to be such an amazing book. It was so bad. But actually it was bad in a funny way. I did do a buddy read with my sisters, which really helped because we were just kind of ripping into this book. But the dialogue was terrible. The actual plot, it was bad. Could have been so much better. Like, there were so many plot holes too, which we kind of do have an issue with. Like, me and my sisters, we do dissect plot holes and like the plot and stuff, and and the ending, I'm sorry, but that ending, I think the mission of this book was to try and get movie rights, and that is the only way I can explain the ending of this book, because it does not make sense. It doesn't make sense, but it was so bad. Again, it was 2 stars. I do not recommend it. I will not be reading another one of Adrian McKinty's books, I don't think. not after that. At number 4, we have got Too Late by Colleen Hoover. Now, I read this quite early in the year, but I remember rolling my eyes constantly. Now, I've kind of told myself I'm not reading no Colleen Hoover at all. I know she's had some controversies, but I have not enjoyed any of Colleen Hoover's books other than Verity and the It Starts With Us series. I know that's controversial, but I did actually really enjoy that. So they're the only books I've liked from Colleen Hoover. The rest of the books have either been a 3 or 2 star, and I can't justify buying any of her books anymore. Not after reading Too Late. It was so bad. I was rolling my eyes so much. So I think from what I remember, we've got like quite an older cop that goes undercover at college, and it just wasn't good, and it was a bit unrealistic. I just remember not liking this one. Again, I actually done a buddy read though with my best friend, and she really enjoyed it. I was rolling my eyes. It felt so unrealistic. I think that's it. It felt so unrealistic, but maybe, this is set in the US, so maybe it's a country barrier thing. I don't know, but I did not like it. At number 3, we have Roomies by Christina Lauren. Now, I really hated this book. Obviously, I don't DNF, but I feel like I should have. But this book was so bad. First of all, this book is glamorizing stalking just because a woman stalked a man. And no, that's not okay. Okay? No amount of stalking is okay. Whether he's a busker, like in this book, whether he is a co-worker, whether he's a random person on the street, no amount of stalking is okay. I just need to preface that. But this book seems to glamorize it. And then the actual plot just seems so silly to me. He's an Irishman and he's a busker, and basically he's about to get chucked out of the country. So you can kind of guess what's gonna happen. And I believe that's what happened, but also like the spicy scenes were so bad. If anyone's read this and the restaurant scene, are you kidding me? I don't know. I hated this book. And also our female main character, I just felt like she was such a spoilt brat, and also she couldn't be without a man. Like I don't know, she didn't have feet for herself. And I have a problem with that. I despise this book so much. Like, I really despise this book, and I would not recommend this to anyone, to absolutely anyone. If anyone recommended this a 5-star, I would love to have a chat, and I would love to know what you loved about this book, because I hated it so much. At number 2, we have got The Leviathan by Rosie Andrews. Now, I feel like not many people would have heard of this one, and maybe for good reason, because again, of course I rated this a 2-star. All of these books are rated 2 stars, but I can't actually tell you what happens in this book because it was quite boring. And I don't like to be mean to books. I know I'm saying that after I've just absolutely roasted Roomies, and I'm sorry, but like, as I normally say, people have put time and effort into their books, and I want to respect that. But I feel like with this one, I had no idea what was happening. It was just words on a page to me. That's how it felt. I mean, one good side is obviously it was a gothic setting, which I quite liked, but I wanted so much more, and I genuinely can't tell you what this book was about. I was so bored, and I'm so sorry, but that's all I could say. I know. I was just so bored, and that's why it's a 2-star. Is that enough? The cover is so beautiful though, but if I cannot tell you what a book is about because I was not engaged with the words on the page, I think that says a lot, right? And at number 1, I feel like you may already know this, but we've got How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. Oh my goodness gracious, I think this is the worst book I've ever read in my entire life, and I don't know if anything is going to beat that. Now, I will start off by saying the beginning absolutely hooked me into a false sense of security, because the rest was it was so bad. Like, our main character, and I feel like maybe I'm missing the point here, because I do feel like the main character was supposed to be very unlikable and whingy and stuff, but oh my goodness, she was so insufferable. I could not stand her. Like, I could not stand her. And that is coming from me, who loves an unlikable character, but I could not stand the main character in this book. I remember she just does not shut up. And I know that sounds silly because we're talking about a book, but she would not shut up about the most pointless things that did not need to be said. I mean, she just rambles and rambles and rambles and rambles and rambles on. I mean, like, listening to me saying rambles 5 times is annoying. That is how this book felt. Legit, that is how this book felt. And also, I just felt like the whole book was very misplaced. I feel like the author tried to put social issues in there, and it just didn't work, because she would put like 1 paragraph on this social issue, and it just doesn't work with the whole book as a whole. I don't know. Like, it was awful. It was downright awful, and I do not suggest you pick this book up under any circumstances. But of course you do you. If you want this book, then you pick that up. But I just don't think anything's going to beat that as my worst book ever read. But that is the end of this video of my top 10 books of 2025, and also my 6 worst. Have you read any of the books that are on my list? Did you love them? Did you hate them? I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, especially if you got this far, because I feel like this could be a long one. And I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.